Claimed by her scent, the human she refused to surrender. The storm over Volaris 9 ripped the sky open. Blue lightning cut through black clouds while Jonah Hale's shuttle shook so hard his teeth rattled. Warning lights screamed from every side. Metal groaned. Something exploded behind him and the left engine died. The ship began to spin. Stars and clouds blurred together as the shuttle fell toward a glowing forest. He pulled at the controls. Nothing answered. The shuttle hit. The impact crushed sound and breath together. Then everything went dark. When Jonah woke, he lay half inside the shattered cockpit. Smoke hung in the air. Sparks jumped from torn wires. The nose of the shuttle was buried in shining blue mud. The air smelled of burned metal and sweet flowers. His right leg was trapped under a broken panel. Pain shot up his side with every breath. He pushed until the metal shifted, then dragged his leg free. Blood soaked his suit and warmed the mud under him. Outside, the night glowed. Tall trees ringed the crash, trunks dull and branches bright like glass. 2 pale moons stared down through thin clouds, cold and distant. He tapped his comm, only static replied. Perfect, he muttered. Lost, bleeding, and nobody listening. A soft clicking came from the shadows. He went still. Small green lights floated between the trunks. Eyes. Shapes crept closer, low to the ground. Long, thin bodies slid over roots and stone, moving with smooth, careful steps. The creatures stepped into the open. Lean, 6-legged beasts with black glass scales and sideways jaws. Their claws touched the mud without a sound. Long tongues flicked, tasting the air. They smelled him. Jonah grabbed a bent metal bar from the wreck. His hands shook, but he raised it and tried to plant his feet. Back off, he whispered. His voice cracked. One beast lunged. He swung. The bar smashed into its head. It shrieked and rolled aside, but another slammed into him from the side. He hit the ground hard. Claws raked his arm. Fire shot up to his shoulder. He rolled, trying to shield his neck. More bodies closed in. Hot breath brushed his face. Teeth scraped his sleeve. Mud filled his mouth when he gasped. This is it, he thought. Crash, then get eaten. No one even knows. Something roared. The sound shook the trees and his bones at the same time. The beasts froze. Their eyes snapped toward the dark edge of the clearing. A shape dropped from above. It landed between Jonah and the pack with a heavy thud that sent ripples through the wet ground. For a moment it looked like a statue of metal and bone. Then it moved. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Skin dull silver blue. Pale plates grew over chest and shoulders like armor. Long white hair hung down its back, catching the glow of the forest. In its hand burned a curved blade of hard light. It moved. The weapon cut the air in fast, clean arcs. One beast fell, split open. Another tried to run and dropped in mid-step. The rest scattered into the trees, hissing in panic. In seconds, the clearing was empty except for Jonah and the stranger. Jonah lay in the mud, breath coming in short bursts. The figure turned toward him. He saw now it was a woman. Not human, but close enough that his mind tried to pull her into human shape. Her face was sharp and strange. Her eyes glowed deep gold, steady and unafraid. You bleed, she said. Her voice was low and even. Jonah gave a weak laugh. Yeah, he rasped. I noticed. She knelt beside him. Her hands were warm when they touched his leg. With quick, practiced motions she tore a strip from the dark cloak over her armor and tied it tight around his wound. Pain flared, then dulled as the bleeding slowed. You are human, she said, studying his face. We were told your kind were only stories. Surprise, Jonah murmured. We're real. Just really bad at landings. Her gaze slid to the broken shuttle, then back to him. You should not be here, she said. This forest eats the soft and the slow. She slipped one arm under his knees and one behind his back and lifted him as if he weighed nothing. His head rested against her shoulder. The armor under his cheek felt cold and smooth, but her body heat was steady beneath it. Where are you taking me? He asked. To my camp, she said. Alone, you die before first light. They moved through the glowing trees. Insects spiraled in the air, leaving faint trails of light. The ground hummed softly under her steps. Jonah watched the strange world sway past and fought to stay conscious. Why save me? He whispered. She walked in silence for a few breaths. At the wreck, she said at last, you stood against the feeders with broken metal. You did not lie down and wait. That is enough. Lights appeared ahead between the trunks. Low huts of hide and bone glowed from within. Figures stepped out, tall and silver-skinned like her, eyes shining in the dark. They stared at Jonah. One spoke in a rough tongue he did not know. The sound was sharp with anger. The woman answered. He heard one word repeat, human. Another warrior stepped forward, armor dark, jaw tight. He pointed at Jonah and snapped more words. The woman holding Jonah growled, a deep sound in her chest. He is mine, she said. The camp fell silent. Jonah did not understand their language, but he knew a claim when he heard one. Some of the warriors drew back. Others leaned forward as if ready to fight. Before he could speak, the woman leaned close. Her breath brushed his neck. Slowly, she rubbed her cheek along his skin, from jaw to shoulder. A faint scent wrapped around him at once, warm and strange, like hot metal and crushed petals. Gasps rose from the watching crowd. The woman straightened. Her eyes were sharper now, her stance set like stone. She spoke again, short and hard. Jonah heard no meaning, only warning. Whatever she had just done, whatever that scent meant to her people, one thing was suddenly very clear. He had not only survived a crash. He had been marked. Jonah woke to warmth. A soft glow lit the inside of a shelter built from woven hide and curved crystal ribs. Strange purple light shimmered from stones hanging overhead. He pushed himself up, pain rolling through his leg, but the bandage held firm. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he smelled it, that warm metallic sweet scent from last night. It clung to his skin like a whisper. Like a warning. Like her. He stepped outside and froze. Dozens of gold and silver eyes turned toward him at once. Conversation stopped. Warriors holding blades paused mid-motion. A child carrying a bundle of glowing fruit gasped and ran behind a tent. Jonah felt suddenly bare, even though he still wore his torn flight suit. The tall alien woman from the night before stood in the center of the camp. Her presence alone seemed to push back fear. Her silver-blue skin caught the morning light like polished stone. Her long white hair flowed in the breeze, making her look carved from moonlight. When she saw Jonah, her stance changed, the hardness in her shoulders eased. The other warriors noticed. One of them, a man with ridged cheekbones and dark, braided hair, hissed, "Keep distance from him. He carries her mark." Her what? Jonah muttered. Before he could ask more, the woman approached. Her voice was steady. "You should rest." Jonah shook his head. "I'm fine. I just don't understand what's happening." The warrior with braided hair snapped, "Show respect, human. You were chosen." "Chosen? Marked?" Jonah sighed. "In my culture, we don't just walk up to strangers and perfume them." Several warriors hissed at his tone. The woman stepped between him and the others, her hand drifting to the curved blade on her hip. "Enough," she said. "He is under my protection." Jonah frowned. "Okay, but can someone explain what that means? The woman finally faced him fully. My name is Kayla, she said. The scent I placed on you is a boundary. A shield. Among my people, no one may strike or challenge one who carries it, unless they challenge me first. Jonah blinked. So they think I belong to you? Kayla tilted her head. Not belong. Guarded. Someone behind her scoffed loudly. Guarded? He is an outsider. A skyfallen stray. Not fit for clan protection. Jonah bristled. Hey! A sharp whistle cut the air. Warriors parted as a tall figure strode into the circle. Her armor was dark as volcanic stone, polished to a mirror shine. Her eyes were deep red gold, colder than Kayla's warm gold. She carried a spear taller than Jonah. This was clearly someone important. Kayla stiffened. Commander Terran. The commander looked Jonah up and down as if inspecting a broken tool. So the rumors are true, Terran said. Kayla has marked the off-worlder. Her voice was like an icy wind. Jonah swallowed. Listen, I didn't ask for. Terran cut him off without looking at him. Kayla. You have broken the code. Kayla's jaw tightened. He would have died. Our laws allow. Our laws, Terran snapped, do not allow a warrior to mark an outsider. A mark binds fate. Binds honor. Binds the clan. Terran stepped closer until their faces were inches apart. You risked our safety, she growled. And for what? A fragile wanderer with no claws, no armor, no clan. Jonah felt anger rising. I'm standing right here, you know. Terran turned her burning eyes on him. Quiet, Skystray. He felt something twist in his chest, shame or fury, he couldn't tell. Kayla stepped in front of him protectively. He is not Skystray. He is Jonah Hale. A traveler. A fighter. And I choose him. Silence crashed over the camp. Terran's eyes widened slowly. You, choose him? Kayla didn't look away. Yes. Terran lifted her spear, dragging its butt across the ground. The sound rang sharp and clear, like a bell. A challenge. Some warriors gasped. Others backed away. Jonah stiffened. What's happening now? Kayla inhaled deeply. Terran invokes a right of warding. She challenges my right to place my scent on you. Jonah stared at her. What happens if she wins? Kayla looked at him, softening for only a moment. The mark is stripped. And you are cast out of the clan lands. My scent can no longer protect you. Anything in this forest may claim you. Jonah's stomach dropped. And if you lose? Kayla didn't blink. Then I fall. And Terran decides your fate. He felt cold all over. Terran's voice sliced through the air. You have until sundown, Kayla. Remove your mark from him, or face me in the circle. The crowd whispered like wine through dry leaves. Jonah stepped forward. Kayla, you don't have to fight for me. I'm not worth this. She turned toward him, eyes glowing brighter. You fought the stalkers with nothing but broken metal, she said. You stood up to my warriors even when afraid. Worth is not measured in strength of bone, Jonah. It is measured in strength of heart. He felt his breath catch. For a moment, the forest around them seemed to fade. Then Terran jabbed her spear into the dirt. Choose, she demanded. Kayla didn't hesitate. I choose the duel. The camp erupted, shock, fear, excitement all at once. Jonah stared at her, stunned. Kayla glanced at him only once more, eyes steady, voice low. Do not fear, she said. I marked you. I will defend you. And at that moment, Jonah realized something terrifying. He wasn't just a lost human anymore. He was at the center of a storm he barely understood. And the next sunset might decide whether he lived, or vanished forever in the glowing jungle. The sun on Volaris 9 set quickly, dropping behind the crystal trees like a dying ember. Golden light spread across the camp, turning every metal surface red. Shadows stretched long and sharp. Warriors gathered in a wide circle of cleared ground, the dual ring. Jonah stood at the edge of the ring, his heart beating too fast. He could taste fear in the back of his throat. Every warrior in the clan had arrived, silent and waiting. The air itself felt tight, like it held its breath. Kayla entered from one side. Her armor was simple but elegant, plates fitting her form like the pieces of a puzzle. Her white hair was braided down her spine, tied with a blue crystal. She carried her crescent blade in one hand. Her steps were steady. Commander Terran entered from the other side. Her armor was darker than night. Thick. Heavy. Built for killing. She held a long spear with a glowing tip that hummed with power. Her movements were slower, but full of strength, the movements of someone who had never lost. The crowd murmured in low tones. This is wrong. Kayla is fast, but Terran is stronger. The outsider has cursed her. She should abandon the mark and walk away. Jonah clenched his fists. He wanted to yell at them. Wanted to tell them Kayla wasn't cursed, she was brave, loyal, kind. She saved him. She didn't deserve this. But his voice would mean nothing here. Kayla glanced toward him once. Just once. Her eyes softened for a heartbeat, and Jonah felt something hit him deep in his chest, fear, pride, and something he couldn't name. Terran slammed her spear down. The sound cracked like thunder. The rite begins, she announced. Kayla raised her blade, but didn't move. Terran smirked. Still hoping the human will run and spare you? Jonah stepped forward. Leave him out of this. Gasps erupted. Warriors hissed warnings. Terran didn't even turn. The outsider should be grateful I do not silence him now. Kayla's voice cut through the ring. He stands under my scent. Touch him, and your challenge becomes a betrayal. The tension thickened. Terran's eyes narrowed. So be it, she said. I strike only you. The duel began. Terran lunged first, fast for her size. Her spear carved the air with a fierce crack. Kayla dodged, sliding back, her boots kicking up dust. Jonah held his breath. Kayla moved like a falling star, bright and quick. She ducked under another strike and swung her blade at Terran's leg. Sparks burst where the weapons met. Terran grunted, stepping back. Kayla pressed forward, slashing with precise, quiet movements. Her blade sliced the air in glowing arcs. Terran blocked each one with heavy counters. Jonah could see the difference. Kayla was grace. Terran was force. But force had its own rhythm. Terran slammed her spear into the ground, sending a shockwave that knocked Kayla off balance. Before she could recover, Terran struck her in the rib with the spear's butt. Kayla staggered. A few warriors cheered. Jonah burned inside. Kayla regained her footing, breathing hard but unbroken. You fight well, Terran said, circling her. But you fight alone. Kayla's eyes flicked to Jonah for the briefest moment. Not alone, she said. Terran growled and drove forward. The next minutes felt like a storm. Metal clashed. Light flashed. Kayla's blade carved thin lines of energy. Terran's spear struck like a hammer. Kayla landed a slice across Terran's arm. Terran responded by smashing her shoulder. Each blow shook the ring. Jonah felt helpless. He wanted to jump in, but he knew he couldn't. The duel had rules. Warriors only. He stepped to the edge anyway, shouting, Kayla. Watch the left. Terran moved in that instant. A fast, brutal strike. Her spear pierced the ground inches from Jonah's foot. The shockwave knocked him backward. He hit the dirt, breath knocked out of him. Terran leaned forward, voice cruel. Fall back, human. Kayla's scream tore the air. Stay away from him. Her eyes turned wild, bright gold burning with fury. She charged with sudden strength, blade meeting spear in a clash so loud the forest echoed it back. Terran stumbled. It was the first time she had lost ground. The crowd roared. Some in shock. Some in awe. Kayla pressed the attack. Her blade flashed, fast as lightning. One strike cut Terran's leg armor. Another sliced her shoulder. But Terran was a mountain, wounded, but still standing. She swung her spear wide, catching Kayla across the chest. The hit sent Kayla crashing to the ground, breath knocking out of her. Kayla! Jonah shouted, trying to stand. Warriors held him back. Terran stood over Kayla, spear pointed at her throat. It ends here, she said coldly. Kayla pushed up on shaking arms. Blood dripped from her lip. Her breath came rough. Her voice was soft but steady. No. She rose again, slow but determined. Terran hesitated. And that single moment was enough. Kayla's blade shot upward in a bright arc, knocking the spear from Terran's hands. It spun through the air and hit the ground with a loud thud. The camp went silent. Kayla held her blade to Terran's chest. Terran froze. The duel was over. But Kayla did not strike. She stepped back, lowering her weapon. You challenged my right, Kayla said, voice shaking with pain but strong. I defended it. Terran stared, chest heaving, then dropped to one knee, the sign of defeat. Your mark stands, she said quietly. The camp erupted in shock. Jonah rushed into the ring, dropping to his knees beside Kayla. Kayla! Are you okay? She leaned heavily against him but smiled faintly. You shouted warnings. Bad ones. But helpful. He laughed, breath shaking. I was losing my mind. She lifted a hand and touched his cheek gently. And yet you stayed. Even when afraid. He took her hand. I wasn't letting you fight alone. Around them, warriors stared, confused, stunned, whispering. For the first time, they looked at Jonah not with fear, but with curiosity. Kayla whispered, the clan sees you now. Jonah swallowed. As what? Her eyes softened. As someone I chose. And for the first time, Jonah felt that maybe, just maybe, this strange glowing world had a place for him. The next morning rose quiet and cold. Thin mist curled between the crystal trees, glowing faint blue under the twin suns. Jonah woke to soft voices outside the shelter, mixed with the clink of armor and the deep hum of energy weapons warming up. He stepped out. Every warrior in the clan stood ready, blades sharpened, bows humming with charged strings, armor painted with glowing symbols. The air felt tense, like the forest itself waited. Kayla stood at the center, adjusting the strap of her scythe. Her movements were slower than usual. The duel had left bruises across her ribs and shoulders, faint purple marks on her silver-blue skin. Jonah walked up to her. You shouldn't be moving this much. She gave a slight smile. I have moved with worse wounds. You nearly died yesterday, he said. Yes, she replied calmly. Today will not be easier. That didn't help Jonah's nerves at all. More warriors joined the circle. One of them, a younger male with a shaved head, stepped forward holding a carved horn. He lifted it to his lips and blew a deep, trembling note that rolled through the forest like thunder. Kayla turned to Jonah. The elders declared a hunt of shadows, she said. It happens when the forest grows loud. When something old wakes. Something old? Jonah frowned. Like an animal? Kayla shook her head slowly. No animal leaves silence behind it. This one steals it. Before he could ask more, Commander Terran approached, her face unreadable. She still bore cuts from their fight, but she walked tall. You let him join the hunt? She asked Kayla. He stood in the duel ring, Kayla replied. He stands with us now. Terran studied Jonah. He has no claws. No armor. No sense of the forest. He has courage, Kayla said. That is enough. Terran grunted. Courage keeps you brave. Armor keeps you alive. She tossed something to Jonah. He caught it, a chest piece made of woven ion bone and crystal threads. Light shimmered through it. Wear that, Terran said. I won't watch him be eaten in the first hour. It would make our clan look incompetent. Jonah tried not to smile. That was the closest thing to approval he'd ever get from her. The hunting party moved out. The deeper they walked into the glowing forest, the stranger the world became. Trees grew taller, branches twisting into shapes like open hands. Their leaves hummed quietly, vibrating with energy when touched. Jonah felt tiny sparks brush his skin. What is this place? He whispered. Kayla answered softly, the inner veins. Oldest part of the forest. Our myths say the world grew from these roots. Jonah nodded, though he barely understood. The deeper they reached, the more wrong the air felt. No insects. No wind. No sounds. Just stillness. Kayla raised her fist, signaling the group to halt. Terran crouched beside a tree. Tracks, she muttered. Deep. Heavy. Fresh. It moved through here not long ago. Jonah peered at the prints. They weren't paws. They weren't claws. They were circular. As if something dragged itself. Kayla whispered, the creature is called a vanter. It sleeps underground for years. It hunts by sound. A single mistake can draw it. Jonah swallowed. And what are we supposed to do? Walk silently. This armor creaks. Kayla leaned close. Then walk with care. Or the ground will open beneath you. They moved again, slower now, feet sinking into soft glowing moss. Jonah tried to match their steps, copying the rhythm of their movements. Suddenly a warrior at the rear froze. His ears twitched. Jonah listened. At first he heard nothing. Then. A soft scraping. Like stone sliding across stone. The ground trembled. Terran hissed, it's awake. The earth cracked open behind them. A huge dark shape surged out, long and armored like a buried serpent, except its head was a wide circular maw of spinning teeth. Blue mist poured from its body as it uncoiled. Jonah's heart stopped. That's bigger than my shuttle, he whispered. No talking, Kayla warned. It senses every sound. The vanter swung its maw in a slow arc, scanning. Warriors froze like statues. Jonah forced his breath through his nose, muscles tight. A single sound could kill them all. But one warrior panicked. He stepped backward, snapping a twig. The vanter exploded toward them. Kayla grabbed Jonah and shoved him aside just as the ground where he stood shattered. The creature burst upward with a roar like grinding metal. The hunt broke into chaos. Warriors scattered silently, rolling and dodging. Terran leapt onto a rock and fired a glowing dart into the beast's side. It struck, spraying sparks, but the vanter barely reacted. Strike the joints. Kayla mouthed to Jonah, pointing to glowing seams along the creature's body. Jonah gripped his bone spear and nodded. He waited. Waited. Then the vanter lunged at Kayla. Jonah moved. He sprinted, leaping onto a crystal root, then onto the creature's back. His spear struck one of the glowing seams. The vanter shrieked and thrashed. Jonah held on desperately. Kayla leapt in from below, slicing deep into a second seam. The beast roared again, trembling violently, then collapsed into the earth with a dull crash, its body slowly sinking back into the glowing mud. Silence returned. Real silence. Jonah lay on the ground panting, chest heaving. Kayla stood over him, golden eyes wide with something between shock and admiration. "You attacked a Vanter," she said softly. "By choice." Jonah coughed. "Well, it was either that or watch it chew through you." Taryn approached, staring down at him. Unlike before, her expression held no anger. Only disbelief. "You did well," she said. "For someone fragile." Jonah grinned. "You keep calling me fragile, but I'm still not dead." Taryn actually smirked. "Yes." Annoyingly. Kayla knelt beside him. "Today you proved something." He raised an eyebrow. "I did?" "Yes," she said. "The jungle listens to strength. And now, it listens to you." Jonah felt a chill, not fear, but something powerful. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was being seen. Night fell over the clan lands like a heavy blanket. The glowing forest dimmed, its blue lights fading to soft pulses under the twin moons. Warriors returned from the hunt exhausted, armor cracked, weapons smeared with Vanter dust. Fires burned low, heating bowls of thick stew made from forest roots. But something felt wrong. Jonah sensed it the moment he stepped back into camp. The air held a sharp metallic smell, like burnt iron and cold smoke. The warriors were restless. Their conversations were short and tense. Eyes darted to the trees more often than usual. Kayla walked beside him, her shoulder brushing his lightly as they entered the central clearing. "The forest is uneasy," she said. "It has gone quiet again." Jonah frowned. "Quiet is bad." "Very," she said. The Vanter was not roaming for sport. It was fleeing something. Jonah stopped. "Fleeing what?" Kayla didn't answer. Her jaw tightened. Taryn approached, her expression grim. "The scouts return soon. We will know then." As if summoned by her words, 3 warriors burst through the tree line, panting, armor scratched and dented. One had a burn mark along his arm, still smoking. Kayla rushed forward. "What happened?" The scout leaned on his spear. "We found a clearing, torn open. Trees melted. Soil blackened." Jonah's stomach tightened. "Melted? By what?" The scout met his eyes. "Human weapons." The word slammed into Jonah like a punch. Kayla's gaze snapped toward him, but not with anger, with fear. Taryn growled, "So it begins. The Skyfallers return." Jonah felt his body go cold. He stepped forward. "Are you sure? It could be something else. Another species. Another." "No," the scout cut in. "We found metal shards. Printed markings. The kind your kind use." Jonah's hands curled into fists. If humans were here, they weren't rescuers. They were trouble. Kayla touched his wrist gently. "Do you know who they might be?" Jonah exhaled slowly. "There's a group. Raiders. Not part of any government. They steal tech, strip planets, sell whatever they take. They're the reason I crashed." Taryn's eyes burned with fury. "And now they come for us." Jonah didn't try to defend his species. He knew these raiders too well. Once they found something valuable, they didn't leave survivors. Kayla stepped close. "What will they do?" Jonah swallowed. "If they found my crash site, they'll send ground teams to look for survivors. If they pick up energy readings from your camp." Taryn finished the sentence. "They will destroy us." A heavy silence fell. Warriors muttered prayers. Children were rushed inside their shelters. Elders whispered old warnings about sky beasts and fires from above. Jonah felt all their eyes turning toward him. He was human. These intruders were human. That made him the only one who understood what was coming. Kayla stepped in front of him, voice firm. Speak. Tell us what we face. Jonah closed his eyes for a moment, gathering his breath. Raiders don't negotiate, he said. They don't talk. They come in armored suits, heavy weapons, and they plant scanners everywhere. If they sense movement, they fire. If they detect life, they capture it. They think aliens are resources. Warriors hissed with disgust. Terran spat on the ground. Your people are monsters. Jonah met her glare. Not my people. Not anymore. The word surprised even him. Kayla's expression softened. Then what do we do? Jonah inhaled sharply. Ideas spun through his mind like sparks. He'd survived pirate raids before, but never with a small tribe armed mostly with blades and light bows. Still, the forest itself had advantages. We have to make the camp silent, he said. No fires. No metal tools. Nothing that gives off heat or light. Terran nodded slowly. We can do that. And we set traps. Jonah pointed to the ground. The soil here is soft. If we dig out certain areas and cover them with leaves, their heavy boots will break through. Kayla listened carefully. Good. What else? Jonah looked at the glowing sap dripping from a tree. That stuff explodes when heated, right? Kayla nodded. Yes. Why? Jonah smiled faintly. Then we make a ring of sap pits around the ridge. If the raiders walk into it, we spark them from a distance. The fire will confuse their scanners. Terran finally gave him something almost like respect. Clever. Human minds are sharp. Jonah shrugged. Sharp when scared. He expected the clan to resist his plan, but they listened. Moved. Acted. Within minutes, warriors began digging pits, covering them with moss. Others gathered glowing sap in containers made of carved shells. Children carried water to put out small fires that might spread too far. Even the elders took part, painting symbols on the ground for luck. Kayla remained beside Jonah the whole time. You take command easily, she said quietly. Jonah laughed softly. Trust me, I'm making this up as I go. Her golden eyes warmed. Yet the clan listens. He looked at her, noticing the way her scent drifted when she leaned close, warm, metallic, strange, comforting. It's only because you trust me, he said. Kayla shook her head gently. They trust you because you fought the Vanter. Because you stood in the duel ring. Because you proved you have a warrior heart. He felt heat rise in his chest. But peace didn't last long. A distant sound rolled across the forest, low, mechanical, hungry. Jonah knew that sound. Dropships. Kayla looked up sharply. Is that? Yes, Jonah whispered. They're here. And this time, they weren't searching. They were hunting. The first dropship broke through the clouds like a burning comet. Its engines screamed, shaking the glowing leaves of the forest. Jonah felt the vibration in the ground before he even saw the red lights. Positions, he shouted. Warriors scattered, quiet as ghosts, slipping into the shadows around the ridge where they had set the traps. No fire burned in the camp now. No metal clanked. The entire clan held its breath, hiding in the mist, waiting. Kayla crouched beside Jonah behind a fallen crystal trunk, her scythe humming faintly. Her golden eyes glowed like small moons. You are afraid, she whispered. Jonah gave a shaky smile. I'm human. Fear keeps us alive. She touched his elbow softly. Fear also sharpens the blade. The dropship hovered lower, engines spitting sparks. The hull bore the symbol Jonah knew too well, a jagged black star. The mark of the Iron Reavers, the pirate band who had shot him from the sky. His chest tightened. He had hoped never to see that symbol again. A second dropship followed. Then a third. They fanned out, bathing the trees with red scanning beams. "Here they come," Jonah murmured. The forest answered with silence. Then the doors of the ship slid open. Heavily armored figures stepped out, their suits dark and plated with metal spikes. Red visors glowed across their helmets. Each carried a different kind of weapon: plasma rifles, shock nets, beam cutters. One pirate spoke through a loudspeaker, his voice thick with arrogance. "Spread out. Find whatever crawls in this jungle. Bring back anything breathing. Sell the rest." Jonah clenched his fists. "They haven't changed." Kayla gave him a sharp look. "Then neither will we." The pirates marched forward. The first one stepped on a moss patch that covered a pit. The ground collapsed. He screamed as he fell into the sap trap. Jonah fired the spark device, a tiny metal shard from his shuttle wrapped in glowing resin. It hit the pit. A blue explosion erupted. Flames roared upward, swallowing two pirates instantly. The air shook. Even the trees trembled from the blast. The pirates shouted in confusion. Kayla leaped from the shadows, her blade cutting through a visor like slicing glass. Taryn lunged from the opposite side, skewering another with her spear. Jonah ducked a plasma shot and rolled behind a root, firing his salvaged pistol. The shot hit a pirate in the shoulder, staggering him. More warriors appeared from the trees, firing charged arrows that exploded on impact. Suddenly, the forest became a battlefield of light. The Reavers regrouped, returning fire. Drones flew from their ships, scanning rapidly. A drone spotted a cluster of warriors and screeched an alarm. Jonah's heart jumped. "They're marking targets." The drones fired beams that traced glowing symbols on the warriors' armor, target locks for incoming missiles. Kayla sprinted toward them, slicing one drone mid-air, sparks raining around her. Another swooped behind her. Jonah didn't think, he sprinted forward, grabbed a stone, and hurled it at the drone. It struck the drone's sensor head and knocked it off course. The beam shot upward instead, marking a tree. A missile screamed through the forest. It exploded against the marked tree, blasting it apart. Shards of crystal wood flew everywhere. Jonah hit the ground hard as debris rained down. "Jonah!" Kayla shouted. He pushed himself up, coughing. Still alive. More pirates moved in, firing non-stop. The clan was outnumbered. Outgunned. Out-armored. Jonah scanned the battlefield, searching for something, anything, they could use. Then he saw it. His crashed shuttle. Half melted. Still smoking. The reactor core buried deep enough to survive the explosion. His heart dropped. He knew what he had to do. "Kayla," he shouted. "We need to get to the ship." She turned mid-fight. "Jonah, the ship is dead." "No," he said. "The core isn't." Her eyes widened. "You plan to overload it." "It's the only way," Jonah hissed. "There are too many of them. We'll all die if we don't end this now." Kayla blocked a pirate strike and stabbed him through the chest. "If you overload the core, you won't escape the blast." Jonah met her gaze across the chaos. "I'll make it. I always do." The words were too light. A lie wrapped in hope. Kayla's expression broke for the first time, fear in her golden eyes. But she nodded. Together, they fought their way to the wreck. Plasma shots burned past Jonah's shoulders. A pirate nearly tackled him, but Kayla cut him down. They reached the shattered hull. Jonah squeezed inside through a crack, pulling wires aside until he found the glowing heart of the reactor. Sparks danced off the core. He heard Kayla fighting outside, the clash of metal, her sharp growl, the screams of dying pirates. Jonah grabbed the manual override. His hands shook. "If this works," he whispered, "please don't explode early." He yanked the lever. The reactor lit up, humming louder and louder. Kayla stumbled into the ship. "Jonah, we must run." He grabbed her wrist. "Get the clan out. Now." She hesitated, the first time he had ever seen her unsure. "Go," he shouted. Kayla grabbed his face with both hands. Her forehead pressed against his. Her scent wrapped around him like fire. "Do not die," she whispered. He forced a smile. "Not planning to." She ran, shouting orders. Jonah turned back to the reactor as its hum became a roar. The pirates closed in outside. He braced himself as the light engulfed everything. A blast shook the world. Then silence. The blast rolled through the forest like a newborn sun. Light swallowed the trees. Heat bent the air. The ground jumped beneath the warriors' feet as if the world itself tried to escape the explosion. Kayla shielded her eyes. Even from far away, the flash burned like fire through her bones. Then the light faded. Smoke curled upward in a tall twisting column. The ground where the ship had been was now a crater of molten glass and dark ash. The pirates were gone, wiped away by the force of the reactor blast. Silence fell over the forest. A tense, painful silence. Kayla ran toward the crater, ignoring every shout behind her. Her legs trembled. Her wounds screamed. But she ran anyway. The world blurred. All she saw was the smoke. All she heard was his voice in her memory. "I'll make it. I always do." She reached the edge of the crater. "Jonah," she called, her voice breaking. No answer. Her heart twisted. For a moment, she felt something sharp and terrible, the fear that she had lost him to the fire, to the sky, to fate. Her knees hit the glassy ground. Then, movement. A dark figure staggered through the smoke. Kayla's breath caught. Jonah stumbled forward, coughing, covered in black dust. His clothes were scorched, his hair singed, and one sleeve hung in pieces. But he was alive. He lifted a hand weakly. "Told you, not planning to die." She ran to him and caught him before he fell. He sagged against her chest, breath shaky, limbs trembling from shock. "Jonah Hale," she whispered, voice shaking. "You are reckless. Foolish. Fragile." He gave a faint grin. "You left out handsome." She pressed her forehead to his. "Never do that again." The remaining warriors reached them, staring in awe. Taryn stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "You destroyed an entire Reaver unit," she said quietly. "Alone." Jonah shook his head. "Not alone. Not ever." Kayla helped him sit on a fallen crystal root while the others inspected the battlefield. Ash drifted around them like soft black snow. For the first time in days, Jonah let himself breathe. "You're safe now," Kayla said softly. Jonah looked at the surviving clan, the glowing forest, the shattered sky. "We're safe," he corrected. "All of us." The clan gathered around, heads bowed. Some touched their fists to their chests, a gesture of respect. Others murmured ancient words Jonah didn't understand. A child walked up shyly, offering him a glowing fruit. Kayla's people were accepting him. Jonah's throat tightened. He turned to Kayla. "So, what happens now?" Kayla's expression softened. Her hair drifted in the warm wind, glowing under the twin moons. "Now," she said, "you rest. You heal. And after that?" Her golden eyes held something deep, something vulnerable. "After that, you stay. You live among us. You have earned a place in this clan. And a place, she looked away for a breath. A place with me. Jonah felt his heart slow, warm, steady. Kayla. A loud roar broke the moment. Jonah tensed, but Kayla lifted a hand. Relax. It is not danger. Above them, the sky shimmered. A human rescue vessel descended from the clouds, white, sleek, humming softly. The symbol of the United Earth Fleet glowed on its hull. Jonah's breath caught. They found me, he whispered. The clan fell back in fear and confusion. Taryn raised her spear. Kayla stepped protectively in front of Jonah. Are these your hunters? She asked. No, he said quietly. These are my own people. The rescue ship landed with a soft hiss. 2 human officers stepped out, scanning the area with wide eyes. Jonah Hale, one called. We thought you were dead. We detected the explosion from orbit. Jonah didn't stand. He looked at Kayla. She looked at him. 2 worlds blinking at each other. 2 futures pulling in different directions. The officers approached cautiously. We're taking you home. Your commander wants a full report. Jonah swallowed. The wind brushed against his skin, carrying Kayla's scent, warm, familiar, grounding. He whispered, Kayla. I can't just leave you. You must, she said softly. Your kind will hunt my people again one day. If you stay here, humans will come searching for you. They will bring fear and fire. Jonah's chest tightened. Then what do I do? You go, Kayla said, voice trembling. Go back to your stars. Speak for us. Protect what you have seen. Jonah opened his mouth to protest, but she pressed her forehead to his again. You carry my scent, she whispered. You carry my bond. The path between us is not broken. He closed his eyes. And when I return? She smiled, small and full of emotion. Then the forest will light your way. Jonah stood slowly, using her shoulder for balance. The human officers supported him. He took a few steps toward the ship, then turned back one last time. Kayla stood in the glowing wind, her hand over her heart, the warrior's promise of eternal bond. The clan stood behind her, proud and safe. Jonah lifted his hand in a small salute. The ship's doors closed. The engines rose. The world dropped away beneath him. Through the window, he watched Kayla grow smaller and smaller until she was a point of silver and gold in the glowing forest. He pressed his hand to the glass and whispered. I'll come back. I promise. Above Valeris 9, the stars opened wide, and Jonah Hale flew toward a future where he would fight not for Earth, but for the world that had saved him. And for the warrior who had claimed his heart.